Hello and welcome to this lesson on the election process. Just a quick about me, my name is Ritik. I'm a senior at Los Altos High School, and I'm interested in computer science, math, and chemistry. So to begin, the first part of the election process is what's called the intra-party debates. So after candidates who must fulfill certain requirements, such as being a citizen of the United States and being at least 35 years old, they must compete within their political party. Now, the two main political parties are the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. There are third parties as well, however, they're not as popular, and thus we won't be discussing them as much. So, candidates, after declaring their presidency, must draw attention to themselves and fundraise money so that they can continue campaigning. And this means attending rallies or hosting events in which candidates can help communicate their ideas and views to people at a certain region. So debates are an important part of the stage because they help learn and introduce candidates to the citizens. Now, these debates are often televised, which means that people across the nation can learn more about these candidates and their issues. And this is an important stage for the candidates because it allows them to communicate their views and gain attention so that they can eventually come out as a winner in their political party. And so that's when the primaries and caucuses occur. So after these debates, voters from each state must vote for one candidate per party. Now, the way this works is that each state has a number of delegates, and based on the number of votes a candidate receives, the candidates will receive those delegates. So for example, in the state of California, if one candidate from a certain party does very well, they will win a majority of those delegates. And this works through the primary and caucus system. So primaries are where ballots are distributed to the people so that they can vote for the candidate they want. Now, this is the more popular method because it allows a wider range of people to access these ballots and thus vote. However, caucuses are another method, and this involves meeting in person and debating in person, and at the end voting in person as well. And this isn't as popular because, as we mentioned before, it doesn't allow ballots to be distributed to everyone easily. People must show up in person. So the next stage is the general election. This is when two candidates have emerged from each political party. So one from the Democratic Party and one from the Republican Party. This stage is important because now each candidate must appeal to more voters. During the primary and caucus stage, candidates only had to appeal to their own political party, and that worked for them because they were running as either the Democratic or the Republican candidate. However, at this stage, they're running as the President of the United States as a whole. And so the way they appeal to more voters is often by campaigning heavily. And this means attending and hosting events in different states. So for example, in this election, Donald Trump attended many events and rallies in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania to try to appeal more voters in those regions. Now additionally, 3 debates occur, and these are often just between the two candidates, the Democratic Party candidate and the Republican Party candidate. However, this year, in 2020, obviously only one debate occurred because of COVID and for other reasons as well. Now, during these debates, the candidate has the opportunity to help promote themselves and also explain to the American people why the other candidates might not be as great for the nation. Additionally, the vice presidential debates occur, so this is often just one debate. However, It gives the opportunity for the vice presidents to also communicate why they believe they should win the presidency. So now that two candidates have debated, campaigned heavily, and tried to explain why they should be the next president, it's time for the people to decide who should be the next president. And this is done through the Electoral College process. And the key idea or concept behind this is that states have a number of electoral votes based on their population. So as you see on the map on the left, you'll see states that have a high population, which means many people live there. So states like California, Texas, Florida, New York, they all have over 20 and up to 55 electoral votes because they are heavily populated states. However, a state like Montana and Maine in the top right only has 2 or 3 electoral votes because they aren't as heavily populated. Now, the way that the election is decided is through a popular vote in each state, and the candidate with the most votes in each state receives all of the electoral votes. So for example, in the 2020 election, Joe Biden won California, which means he got the majority of votes in that state. And as a result, he won all 55 electoral votes. Similarly, in this election, Donald Trump won the majority of votes in Texas, which means he won 38 electoral votes from that state. And the candidate who receives 270 electoral votes win the election. Now, this is what's called the Electoral College, and it's a process that's unique to America, but it's also very controversial. So one pro of the Electoral College system is that a candidate to win must appeal to people from all over the country. So for example, instead of having to appeal to voters just in California and Texas, they have to get voters from all different states to win. However, one con is that sometimes the winner of the Electoral College may not be the person who receives the most votes. So for example, in the 2016 election, Hillary Clinton lost the election despite winning over 50% of the votes. And that's why this is often a controversial process. However, this is the process in America. So now that you've learned all the processes that happen during the election, such as the intra-party debates, the primaries and caucuses, the general election, and then the Electoral College in which the president is decided, it's now time for you to do a quick reflection, and the question I have for you is whether you believe the Electoral College is fair or not, and explain why or why not. Now, this is something you should think about because it is often a controversial topic and there are pros and cons to both sides. Now, additionally, on the bottom, there's a link to this game in which you have to run as a president and go through all the stages that we talked about, and it'll just help you learn more about these concepts while giving you a fun way to do so. So thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed, and check out Project Slam's links in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.